All right, I'm going to do my personal review on this Smith & Wesson M&P Bodyguard 380. Right now I have it in a Relentless Tactical holster. Really like these holsters. Great heavy duty metal clip on it. Great leather quality stitching. Comfortable all day long. All right, so before we get too far into this, I do want to show you one thing. On the top here, there is a loaded chamber indicator right here. It's basically a little notch. You can see the silver in there. That just lets you know that there is a round chamber. Let me go ahead and drop this. So this is a small gun. I will say I bought this strictly for a concealed carry, something I could put in my pocket, something I could holster. As you can see, the size is not very big at all, barely fits my hand. I don't have the biggest hands. As you can see, I have to wrap my pinky in order to grip onto it. This one does have the Crimson Trace laser. If you press it once, laser stays on. Press it twice, it pulses. One more time and the laser goes off. Normally you would buy a gun, how it feels, how quick you can pull it up on target, and how accurate. Like I said, this one, bought it strictly for concealed carry, so wasn't really concerned about how it felt or how I could pull it up. I am mainly using this as personal protection. So just a overview of the outside of this. This is the two-tone model. The sights are pretty slim. They do not snag on anything. Never had that issue. The laser is ambidextrous. There's mag release, typical mag release. This does have the external safety, so you can flip it, safe and fire. One thing, if you notice, I did on this strip it down and paint behind, so I could put a white safety and a red fire. This is just something I had on a couple of my other guns. I just love being able to visually pick up a gun, see, or if it's laying down, visually see if it's on safe or fire. Okay, so I've had this gun for a little over a year now, and I probably put a couple hundred rounds through it. Normally when I go to the range, I'll try to put at least a mag through it just so it stays consistent in my head. I've never had any issue with misfire or misfeeding. It's just been a great little gun. I will say the biggest issue that I'm not a huge fan of is the long and heavy trigger pull. The majority of the reason on small guns why you'd have a long, heavy trigger pull is basically just because there's no external safety. That way if you get snagged on something, it's not going to fire. However, this one does have an external safety, so not 100% sure why they would put such a heavy trigger pull on it. So as you can tell, I go ahead and pull the trigger. It is long, it's pretty heavy. You see there is basically an external hammer there, so you can basically ride it to the wall and fire. That is basically my only complaint on this gun, is like I said, just a trigger pull. And of course you can buy different trigger kits and replace it. So it's not a big issue for me since it is a concealed carry. You have your mag release here. To tear it apart is pretty simple. You lock the slide back. You rotate your pin out here, your tear down pin. And you basically just let the slide go forward. After that, it's basically like every other handgun. Pretty easy disassembly. Reassembly, sometimes people have a little bit of an issue getting the tear down pin back in. It's not that big a deal. You just slide it back, lock it back in place, your slide. The biggest thing is you want to make sure your barrel is all the way forward. Once it's all the way forward, pin goes in pretty easily. You just line it up. Once it's lined up, you just press down and rotate back in place. Let the slide go forward. And you're all set. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Later on I will probably put one out of the range shooting a few times just so people can see it in action. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and put a like or go ahead and subscribe. If you guys can think of anything else you'd like to see, go ahead and leave me a comment below. Thanks again.